Welcome to the Real Chili Podcast.
And the Golden Eagles of Marquette University in Milwaukee are bound for the Final Four for only the third time ever.
5 seconds left. Marquette down by one, trying to avoid the upset. Blue the drive, the left hand. It's good. 1 second to play. Vander Blue has put Marquette in front by one.
And I want to win every day as basketball players, as students, and I want to win every day, most importantly, as people.
And it turns out the government isn't the only thing shut down in D.C. It's also the hopes and dreams of the Georgetown Hoyas. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the hell you're listening to this victorious, joyous podcast. This is the Real Chili Podcast. My name is Brian Henry, joined alongside by the thrilled and excited Pete Worth. Pete, what do you got on this game?
Georgetown!
Freaks! Oh, Pat Ewing, you just had the probable conference player of the year go down in the first 3 minutes, and you still got your ass carved by Sakar Anim running the point.
How embarrassing.
I mean, we are going to be propping it. We're being a little hyperbolic, but we will say, if this shoe was on the other foot and Jesse Govan had gone down in the first 3 minutes and we proceeded to lose this game, we would all be collectively losing our minds. I want all of you, from all of our angst at different points over recent years, and God knows this season, weeks ago, months ago, holy smokes, the Georgetown fan base must just be pulling their hair out right now, because to have that happen at home and have a player like that go down and not come away with a win and really let us be that efficient, that's a shameful way to lose. Pat Ewing, not a good look, bud. Not a good look.
Not a good look at all. And can the grandparents, Hauser, come to all of...
Seriously? What a good life they must be
up
living.
in D.C., you know?
No.
Hey, show up at the Fiserv every once in a while, Mr. and Mrs. Hauser.
Well, I thought the announcer said they're from Central Wisconsin. They made the trip out there, probably, spent the night there at the Ritz-Carlton, Georgetown. Had got themselves a nice meal. They had a good time.
Walked around D.C. for a while, saw all the inaction, and then finally it started heating up at Georgetown.
And watched their two grandsons, specifically the eldest, Samuel, just roast Georgetown's defense. Let's begin with Sam Hauser. And there's a lot of praise to go around, and we should be starting with Wojo, but this is the players play the game. We're going to start with Sam. Sam Hauser, with the best player in the gym on the bench. The offense has to fall on your hand, to lead it. And what does he respond with? 31 points, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, knocked down 4 of 9 threes, 10 of 20 from the floor. Toss in 8 rebounds and an assist. Pete, we've had some great games from Sam, but considering the circumstances, this might be the best performance of his Marquette career. Slightly hyperbolic and recency bias, but it might be.
Sure. Well, that's what we do best at this show is recency bias. And so, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and call it that. I mean, with that turnaround fadeaway jump shot to win the game, basically, I mean, he really did it all out there for us. But not only was he making shots, he was making the right play. And the team collectively as a whole, with that Sakar, Bailey, the two Hauser boys, and John, without Markus Howard out there, they're pretty damn fun 5-person team to watch.
Let's start there. Let's not start with Sam. Let's start there. I think the coaching staff, surprised as anybody, learned something today. That was the most impressive all around from everyone contributing standpoint that's on the court, defensively and offensively. They all made positive impacts. We're going to get to Brendan Bailey, because where the hell did that come from? The length that was on the court, let's go with that crunch time unit that you just said. The length that was on the court from a defensive standpoint gave them an opportunity to win that game, because they challenged everything. They challenged on the perimeter, they challenged on takes to the basket, and they made life miserable for Govan. Every time he tried to get to the rim and shoot, he couldn't get his shot off half the time. He was kicking out to guys that couldn't make it. That's not to bury Marcus. He's 5'11". It's reality. We saw with Rousey a year ago. It's different with you plug Bailey out there in that group. He's 6'7". Guys can't get their shots off on him. It was impressive.
Yeah, it really was. Especially getting back in transition, I thought we were awesome.
Yes, agreed.
That. And you could tell that Ewing had a game plan going in to push the ball because they did that pretty much throughout the entire game. And that's when Govan started hitting his threes from the top of the key as a trailer, and you kind of felt them getting their momentum back. And I think that was mostly due to the guards for Georgetown pushing the ball. But the thing is, they pushed the ball, they got close to the hoop, they didn't get to the hoop. And that's thanks to our length and all five guys being able to defend.
I mean, I kept in our text chain that we run amongst ourselves, I kept asking, when are we going to turn back into a pumpkin here? Because you didn't think initially, man, there's going to be a stretch. They're going to, go on a 12-0 run, and we probably just aren't going to have it. Really never let them do that. The most this team went down was 8, I believe, and then responded with an 8-0 run and immediately tied the game. And then not an 8-0 run, it was a 12-0 run.
I think it ended up being 14. It should have been longer.
14, correct. And then Georgetown, right? And then
foul on Joey.
And then Georgetown came right back, and they went on a run themselves and tied it. But just let's focus on the metal of that, Pete. You played competitive basketball all through high school. You were a stud of the Chicago Catholic League. It's demoralizing to have your
sixth team, all Chicago Catholic League.
Oh, you don't say you were definitely the 4th. Don't sell yourself short.
Okay. All right, sure. Go ahead.
Your best player goes down. That especially on the road, it hurts. I mean, not just obviously it hurts. There's a mental, oh God, I don't know if we can do it. The fact that this group really rallied off of that, I think better than we've seen them rally with this kind of adversity. And so, Pete, I ask you, this has to be a major credit to Steve Wojciechowski. I'm stunned at how well they handled it and punched right back through it. That's a tribute to the head coach.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, and Pete talked about it on the last pod. He makes these guys better together than they are collectively, and it's thanks to their high basketball IQ. The fact that they, I think, all like each other a whole lot, and it shows out there on the court. And not only was the disappointment from losing Marcus early on evident, but also the rallying and the banding together of the team was very visible, I thought. And that's thanks to Wojciechowski's leadership and also Marcus's leadership, honestly. I mean, you saw him leading the huddle a couple times.
At halftime.
There's not too many D1 players that are that good, that are also that strong of a leader. And it was crazy. And then the first half, I said it to you guys, that first half after Marcus went down, it was just one long collective sigh. Like,
absolutely.
Just like, oh, really? We got 3 games in a row, including the 2 big ones against Creighton and Seton Hall. We think we should kind of definitely get a win against a mediocre Georgetown team, and then Marcus goes out. And then we're trying to figure things out on the fly. Chartouni's playing terrible, and the Georgetown is just chucking up ugly shots. It was just kind of like, no. And I can't believe how quickly it changed.
I would prefer if we just did about 20 minutes of you making those noises. I think that'd be
sure. I can do that.
Better podcast for everybody. You have set me up for the 2-parter, and I am thankfully, because we won the game, I'm not going to explode out of my chair as we talk about it. But you alluded to this should have been the table should have been set at this point of the season for something like this to happen to Marcus, for graduate transfer Joseph Chartouni to take the reins and deliver hey, I got this. We're okay. Don't have to score. You're not gonna replicate Marcus's offense, but be the defensive stopper that he's supposed to be, handle the ball, get it to open teammates, and play 30 minutes in this game and give him a chance to win. God love the kid, but his head seems so firmly entrenched up his ass for the second he stepped on the court. The turnovers, getting lost on defense, and props to Wojo. He didn't just leave him out there. He went and stapled his ass to the bench, which I was sitting there, I was like, oh my God, like what a statement that was, right? Like, I don't want to say you're never coming back from that, but that might be the gutsiest move of the whole damn day, because that's your other point guard. It's a senior. You're supposed to leave him out there to deal with that situation. And he went and said, nope, you don't have it today, kid. Sit down.
This was running through my head the entire time Shartuni was on the court.
Wow.
But yeah, I agree with everything you said, Brian. But yeah, absolutely credit to Wojciechowski for realizing that he didn't have it tonight. He hasn't had it in a few games, and we're making fun of him, but we still need him on this team, I think.
Absolutely. But this is my question to you. You said, we still – is there coming back from this? You just watched Sakar and Sam and Brendan Bailey kind of patchwork it for stretches and look great defensively. If you've got to sit Marcus down, I mean, Shartuni's going to have to fight his way back onto the floor, because that was a massive – indictment of him that he wasn't ready to step up in that moment. Again, we don't want to come in this podcast and bury guys. He's not, it's not the end of the world. He didn't play well today. We all know he's better than that. But still, like, this was one of those, when you're writing the movie script, like the start, this is Friday Night Lights. Matt Saracen's coming in. He's going to lead the team down the field to a victory. We lost by 4 touchdowns if that was the case, right? Like, he didn't have. Well,
luckily we had Matt Sam Hauser Saracen on the team.
Yeah, good point. Yes,
but
and both Hausers deserve credit for that. But incredible. I think that was Wojo's move of the game, and he put the ball in Sakar's hand more. Which, if you had said at the start of a season, we were going to win a game in which Marcus gets hurt, Sakar plays the majority of point guard minutes, and by the way, Brendan Bailey's somehow going to be in at crunch time. I would have laughed. Like, what? No, that's not happening. Pete, rationalize this for me.
Brendan Bailey was on a mission again tonight. That's for sure.
Oh, wow.
And where has that been all year, Brian? Because that was the makings of a high-level D1 player, what we saw from him tonight. I mean, the ability, four blocks, I think, is that what you said?
4 blocks.
Defending Akinjo, who's a very quick point guard. He's very skilled. I've watched too much Georgetown basketball this year. I don't know why. But Akinjo is a pretty good point guard. I mean, obviously, he's young. He's a freshman. But he is very talented dribbling and is quick, too. Obviously, he doesn't have much finishing skills at the moment. But he can shoot. I mean, he can do a lot of things. And Brendan Bailey, defending him, blocking shots, hitting pull-up jumpers, and both 3 and a mid-range. I mean, yeah, you got to look forward to this game, to future games from him, and hope that this is a springboard into more positive minutes.
9 points and 4 blocks for Brendan Bailey off the bench. You mentioned Akinjo and the long stretches he guarded him. Akinjo today, 1 for 10 from the floor, got to the line 8 times, made 6, 8 points. I mean, that's their other starting, high-scoring guard with him and McClung, and they completely took him off his game and did a terrific job. I mean, that Brendan Bailey, that last possession, that block by Theo John, that block by Sakar late when they were driving for the tying bucket doesn't happen without great defense by Bailey. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was big plays down the stretch, hitched open shots when he had the opportunity. I agree with you, Pete.
That transition layup and finish was really nice too.
Agreed. I hope this is a taking off point, because I would love to, for those who have been fans of this team for any length of time over, 5, 6, 7 years, we have always been the smaller roster. Really always. It feels like going back to really maybe the second half of Crean after he got lost the Wade Jackson Diener era, they had some decent size. really haven't had a whole lot of bigs you could lean on since. And while there aren't necessarily traditional bigs on this roster, it's a lot of length. And when you can plug in a kid like Bailey who stands at 6'8", you think they're going to probably put weight on him over his time there because that's what Todd Smith does for people. Like, that's a great frame for a guy that can play like that. I mean, that just – it changes things. You grab more rebounds. You play better defense. I want to see Brendan Bailey succeed, and I want his 6'8" length out on the court. It changes everything.
For sure. And speaking of frames, Theo John with another awesome performance again tonight.
Yeah, can't say enough about that. I mean, incredible.
Huge block to seal a game. He was everywhere grabbing rebounds, and I liked Stephen Barta what he said when he was grabbing rebounds away from his space. Getting into getting into opposing players' positions and grabbing boards, just out willing and out hustling guys, and that attitude that he brings has been awesome. And even some, Brian, you'll respect this, some nice post moves that he's working on.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has got the potential to be first team all Big East, as only a sophomore going forward in the next. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about he keeps developing an offensive game like he has over this last course of the year. This guy's limit on him too.
He's got that running, not running, but that nice jump hook with the right hand. Doesn't do it to the left as often, but excellent job. He obviously finishes with authority, and you can just anytime he puts down one of his two-handed power dunks, it jolts everybody. I mean, you see he flexes and gets excited. The bench does. The guys on the floor do. I mean, it's a momentum thing. And Christ, when he's doing it at home in front of, hopefully 18,000 fans, I mean, it's a game changer. 14 points and 6 boards in that game. He stepped up huge, played great defense, bounced back and forth between any of the bigs that Georgetown threw out there. Just another, and we're right, it's becoming routine. He is, I thought Pete Mohan had an interesting text in our group. Second best center in the Big East behind Pascal. You comfortable saying that from what you've seen so far this year?
Just off the top of my head, it's hard to say. I mean, I haven't watched DePaul that much, and a few other of our other Big East teams. But I would be pretty confident.
We'd probably say Pascal's number one as a senior guy, a major contributor on that team. He's playing like it, and you get that level of production from that 5 spot. And you're right, he only took 6 field goals today. Got to the free throw line 8 times. He's doing it incredibly efficiently. Like, we'll take it. And you know what? Hey, we shouldn't bury this. With Ed Morrow hurt, Matt Helt came in and gave solid minutes off the bench. Props to Matt for being ready to come in and do that.
Yeah, and props to Theo for even elevating his game without Ed. He's done that though ever since the second half of the Seton Hall game. Theo's put together 3 really consecutive solid halves.
I mean, it was basically because Jamal Cain didn't see a ton of burn tonight. It was basically a 7-man rotation if we want to eliminate Chartouni. It was Bailey and Helt rotating off the bench, and they played 7 guys, or let's exclude Marcus. It was a 6-man rotation. Bailey, Helt, Sakar, Sam, Theo, Joey. That's were the main guys with a little bit of time for Chartouni and a little bit for Jamal Cain.
For sure.
Interesting the way that shook out. Well, Pete, this is as good as we've felt all year. Hopefully, Marcus, the back spasms are not a serious thing, and we see him back on the court soon. I'm surprised. Are you surprised at all that if that was something he was dealing with all day, they chose to have him start the game?
Not really. I mean, he's Markus Howard, so he thought that he was going to give it his all. It's hard to say. You don't know the severity of these types of things, but I mean, I want to see him out there on the court. If as a Marquette fan, if I hear Markus Howard is ailing a little bit with the chance to play, you bet your ass I'm going to hope that he's still in there, playing through something. Now, back spasm, I don't know, it kind of sounds a little serious. So it worked out tonight, but luckily we got 4 days of recovery time before Providence at home on Sunday. So
yeah, nice. You Pete said it. Nice little stretch of time off for the team to hopefully get healthy, especially when it comes to Morrow and Marcus. Providence on Sunday, noon Eastern, on everyone's favorite network, CBS Sports Network, because everybody has that and it's easy to watch.
Sure.
So they'll take on Providence. And, outside of a disappointing start against St. John's, this team has quickly rattled off 4 straight victories in the Big East Conference. They are behind only Villanova, and long way to go. But, Pete, I'd say through 5 games, 4-1, everyone's got to be pretty happy.
Yeah, like I said in the last pod after Seton Hall win, the parity in the Big East is talked about a lot. Fuck that. Let's allow the last 8 teams in the Big East to have all the parity. Let's stand out and be one of the top 2 teams. I think Villanova is probably going to be the other one. But if we can create some distance away from this jumbled mess that is the rest of the Big East, that's what I'm shooting for. And one kind of thing where we didn't mention about another individual player, we talked about Joey a little bit, but his defense on Govan was very credible. And Joey finishes with a rounded out 10 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Really nice game from him. And I think he's one of our probably the best recruit that we've had as a freshman in the last 10 years. And just with his ability to defend, pass, shoot, and rebound.
In all aspects, from an all-around. Because Sam his brother had a nice freshman season.
Oh, sure.
Marcus had a nice freshman season, but I get what you're saying from a standpoint of –
I'm talking about all-around potential,
right.
Yeah.
We weren't putting Marcus on the other team's best player to guard his freshman year. He's getting those types of assignments because he's A, that good, B, that smart, and he can handle it. Well,
yeah, and our team is fundamentally sound. And even Matt Helt, you mentioned him getting out there, getting 3 boards in his 10 minutes, boxing out. Our team boxes out real well. We move our feet well. We got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things. And it's cool to watch, especially when Marcus went down. And just what could have been a really shitty night turned out to be a pretty great one.
Well, and it gave you hope for you need to find ways to win games like that to secure a good seed, and you got to find ways to win games like that in the NCAA tournament and the big postseason play at the end of the year. So a great gut check victory for Marquette. We said it, Providence on Sunday. They're at home against DePaul at that. And if just anybody was curious, we don't see Villanova until next month. February 9th is the first time, and that'll be at home. Marquette will get a crack at the current conference-leading Villanova Wildcats. For Pete Worth, I am Brian Henry. This has been the Real Chili Podcast. Go Marquette. Everyone have a great week.